Hello, everyone. Simon Foster here from the Sydney Science Fiction Film Festival. I'm very excited to have with me an outer space brother who's bringing the Blue Space Film Festival to Mount Vic Flicks this coming weekend. He'll give us all the details of dates and times. Andrew Warrilow, welcome so much to the Sydney Science Fiction Film Festival page, and congratulations on this initiative.
Thank you very much, Simon. Very happy to be here.
Mate, you're delving into the world of film festival directorial responsibility. What's it been like for you? Do you have a background in it? Is this your first one?
Well, as you say, I am delving, and it is a very big responsibility. It weighs heavy on these shoulders, and I hope to do it justice. And also becoming a member of a very illustrious group of people in this country. But I may be slightly different to most of the other directors in this space, in that a lot of them, like yourself, they're professionals, critics, actors, people with movie industry experience. I'm one component of the movie industry, part of one component of the movie industry, in that I am a punter. I'm the guy who's buying the tickets, who's sitting in the cinema with the popcorn and the glass of Coke. I love cinema, and it's when I'm not doing anything else, I'm usually at the cinema, and then often to my wife's chagrin, when I come home from the cinema, then I'm watching, one of the streaming services, something. I could watch cinema 24/7.
You're living the life.
Yes, so we're brothers in that regard.
Yes.
This is my opportunity to give back.
So that's a unique point of difference that you point out that, like myself, I'm a critic and I've been a journalist in the industry for a long time, having come from a complete film buffs background. That's the only reason I'm doing what I'm doing. So the fact that you are a punter, as you say, someone who just loves movies, how do you think that has influenced the films you've programmed? Are these movies that are special to you, or that are special to the science fiction section? Why this collection of films? Before we get into them in detail, why this lineup?
Yeah, very good question. So I guess the jewel in the crown of the whole festival is Silent Running. It's a movie that I saw as a kid, and it just stayed with me. It stayed with me my entire life, with its environmental message and everything. But just the purity of it, and the beauty of it, and the production values involved and everything are just so enormously high. So for many years, I've had this kind of like a dream, a fantasy of showing Silent Running up there on the big screen to a new generation who haven't seen it, because it can compete with anything today, really. I think. And also bringing it back to a generation that perhaps it's in the back of their minds, and they might want to see it again and relive that experience. So I've built it around that. And as far as the other movie choices are concerned, that they're all ones that have moved me. But we've worked with one particular studio. All of these movies this year running anyway, from one particular studio. So that certainly informed the choices that we were making of the films.
Cool. And let's talk very briefly about the team at Mount Vic Flicks. They've gotten behind it. This is a different kind of programming for them. They've got this beautiful space in the Blue Mountains of New South Wales here, which I think is going to suit the retrospective angle of these films just perfectly.
Yeah, I know they were great partners all the way through. They're I mean, for anyone in the Sydney audience that's watching this, they're hugely influential in the mountains. They are basically the Blue Mountains art house cinema, and have been for many years. But they're also famous for doing their community events. So they do a Eurovision night, they do Rocky Horror nights, and they're all so well attended. And it's more like a party than anything else. So they've got a great reputation in the mountains, and they've been enormously supportive of me basically giving me the course of Festival Director 101. They showed me how to deal with the film studios, how to market things. They've been my guides, basically. They've been my lecturers and instructors the whole way through.
Half the problems are solved if you have a venue partner who understands their audience, understands the marketing side of exhibition. So you've done great to pair up with that lot at Mount Vic Flicks. I'm very fortunate in that I'll be presenting a bit of a chat about silent running ahead of the screening. As you say, it's an important film for me as well. As a huge Douglas Trumbull fan.
We're both big fans of the Trumbull.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, let's dig into the program a little bit. What kicks off the festival? What are you opening with?
So the Friday night program, we're starting out with Luc Besson's work, Lucy,
Wow.
with ScarJo.
Jumping in the deep end. That's a crazy one. That's full on Besson.
It's full on Besson, but look, respect.
Yeah.
I loved Lucy. I love Lucy. You know, like the TV show. Yeah, nice little line. It's it's a bit of a polarizing one, bit controversial, because it delves into that area of do humans use their full brain powers? You know, when you use a fraction of our brain powers, apparently. Whether or not that's a scientific fact is up for debate.
We're not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I know I use 99% of mine. I don't know about you, Simon, but anyway, who cares about that? You know, the main character, the heroine, takes something that it increases her brain power and allows her to kind of evolve to a next level. Let's not go into how or whys or the wherefores or whatever. That's what she's doing, and I think it's a very good treatment.
Yeah.
So that's Lucy. That's what we're starting out with, for better or for worse. Then we're going for Andromeda Strain.
Wow.
Another one from my childhood, and one that, in hindsight, it has blown my mind, because even though the bug was from outer space, which makes it kind of more sexy and everything like that, geez, didn't they get the whole pandemic thing down, and how humans dealt with the pandemic thing down? You know, Simon, if we had an underground base with like 5 different levels and all that, wouldn't we have knocked out COVID so much more quickly?
So much more quickly. You're absolutely right. Now, this is a film that I have fond memories of as one of the very first big movies I taped off television. I think that's where I first saw it, even before I rented anything on VHS. So it's been a long time since I've seen the Andromeda Strain. But as you say, it kept coming up in all sorts of conversations and analysis during the COVID period. So this is going to be that's an exciting one for me to see on the big screen, which I've never seen on the big screen.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it on the big screen because, it was released in the early 70s. So if we saw it on the big screen, we would have been in nappies. We would have been in the mum's quiet room or something like that. So, and we would have been spewing up our milk on ourselves. So it's going to be great to see it on the big screen without any of that baggage. And then we're moving on to Videodrome after that.
Wow.
So another great one, another prescient one. I mean, it's amazing. Science fiction has the ability to kind of tell the future, because so for Videodrome, it's all about the voyeurism and sucking you in. And once it sucks you in, it destroys your brain. Isn't that a great sort of analogy for reality TV, Simon?
That's exactly right. Cronenberg has a way of tapping into the deepest, darkest, most personal fears, but also looking forward. Anyone who's seen his latest film, Crimes of the Future, knows that which was once again a polarizing film, but which I absolutely loved. And this is another first time on the big screen for me, Videodrome. I remember very vividly watching it as a scratchy VHS rental where you could barely see what was going on in the picture. So I can't wait to see this one on the big screen.
Yeah, it's great. And little warning for anyone who might be thinking of bringing the kids: it is an R rating, so be mindful of that one.
Yep.
And then we're finishing off the night. Each of the nights we're doing a midnight creature feature. So for the Friday, it's John Carpenter's The Thing.
Wow.
This one's an adventure in paranoia with a 100,000-year-old shape-shifting alien, but you never know who it is. It might be your best mate, or it might be a pet husky. Could be anyone. I mean, the combinations and permutations of where we're going to go on this are endless.
40th anniversary. I have vivid memories of when it came out at the movies and when it disappeared very quickly from the movies back in the day. It wasn't a hit first up, but like Videodrome, God, you've programmed well. All these movies that have found much more sort of credibility and much more analysis as the years gone by. I think a lot of people are talking Carpenter at the moment because of Halloween. And a lot of people maybe think Escape from New York is his masterpiece. I think The Thing is far and away the best film that the great John Carpenter ever made. It's extraordinary work.
Yeah, well, we love them all, and it's really just up to your own choice, really, I think. And then Saturday we're starting out with Ex Machina, which is a beautiful film. I think explores a lot of things, human sexuality, and also explores about what it is to be human, and do machines stand any chance of a shot at being human? And so that's another great one as well. Director Alex Garland and writer, and with the beautiful Alicia Vikander in the main role. So looking forward to screening that one too. And then, as I said, The Jewel in the Crown, Douglas Trumbull's masterpiece, Silent Running. I mean, what can you say? I mean, we've already said it. It's just such a moving film, and I think a lot of people are going to be surprised how good it comes across even after all these years. So that's going to be the excitement factor for me. And we're bringing in someone, a genius in the film industry, to do the pre-screening talk. Simon Foster, you might have heard of him.
I understand he's quite the intellect. Yeah, I absolutely.
He's a great intellectual. He's even met Douglas Trumbull. That's how good his credibility is.
Yeah, I've been getting by on that for many years now.
Yeah, milk it for all it's worth.
I absolutely have been. It's funny. I as part of the Silent Running screening, you're having this terrific fancy dress and sort of party night atmosphere. So I'm very excited about that. My first thought was, you know what? I'm going to try and find the actual jumpsuit that Bruce Dern wears in Silent Running to see if I can track down the knitted woolen jumpsuit. So I found a company called Prop Store, who a couple of years ago auctioned it off. Do you know how much the jumpsuit from Silent Runnings went for?
$200,000.
You're getting crazy here a little bit. US $40,000 that sold for.
It's not far off though.
No, not far off, but it's, and its estimate on the bidding site was like $2,000 to $5,000, and then when it finally sold back in like late 2019 or something, it was this extraordinary 40,000, which I think sort of speaks to how influential the film is and how this movie, while it's not spoken of as the 70s in hindsight has become all about Star Wars and Spielberg and the big blockbusters, but the really important films like Andromeda Strain and like Silent Running and like Omega Man and those sort of ones, they're the ones that have a lot of resonance with the serious sci-fis.
Exactly. I mean, that does show you in hard numbers how much it means to people. And it is like one of those classic films that just sort of percolates up there slowly and then even kind of pushes out a lot of the mainstream stuff over time. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
He had a tough time I was going to say Trumbull had a tough time when he decided to do directing, because Silent Running was his passion project, as you say, but wasn't really well received by critics or audience at the time. It's only been in hindsight that it's found a lot of love. And then when he shot his other directorial film, Brainstorm, obviously it went through its own, also a very thoughtful, very prescient film, but which also went through terrible sort of production.
Absolutely. And I think the environmental messages mean a lot more to us now in this day and age than it did perhaps back then.
Yeah.
But, it just stands on its own for all its messages. at the time. And then we're finishing up with, you know, it's the mandatory flick for any kind of horror / sci-fi, which is the Creature from the Black Lagoon, but we're doing it in 3D.
Wow.
So yeah, it'll be like back there in the 50s. You know, you'll be able to have that experience like Grandma had.
An
and
extraordinary
it's going to be a lot
film.
of fun.
And having, I did only see it. Oh, I guess it was a few years ago now. But it's so obvious where Spielberg picked up so many of his tips from, so many of his shots from for Jaws. And it's Jennifer Lopez's Anaconda is essentially a remake of Creature from the Black Lagoon. They go up the river and there's this thing stalking them. So it's you know, it itself has been very influential over the years. I can't wait to see that in 3D. I've never seen that in 3D.
Exactly. And they've been talking about remakes of it on and off ever since it was made.
Yeah.
You know, so it made its indelible print, I think, on cinema. And it, you know, okay, so it's a bit of a laugh. There's a bit of schlock factor there, but it's also, you know, it kind of is good. It's kind of good. It's good.
Yeah,
Creature
absolutely.
from Black Lagoon is good.
The craft behind it, the actual monster suit is the creature suit is still extraordinary all these years later. So
I've got a story on the suit if you want to hear it.
You want to do it now, or are you going to save it for the night? Let's do it now.
It's just a quick one. Apparently it was so inflexible that he couldn't sit down. He had to stand up the whole time. The guy was wearing it, the gill man. And it was pure black rubber. So it was like 100 degrees in there the whole time. You had to get sprayed off, hosed off just to cool off constantly. So
whatever works for the movie, whatever works for the film, let them suffer.
Yeah, they suffered for their art.
Exactly right. Mate, you've done an extraordinary job pulling all this together. As we speak, it's about 4 days off. How are you feeling right now? Have all the boxes been ticked?
I think so. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, actually. Looking forward to happening. I'm really looking forward, particularly to the Saturday night, because there's a party factor involved, and I love a party. So, and it's a community event. So, you know, probably half the people there will be from Blue Mountains, and so I'll probably know, you know, half of them again. But we'll be welcoming any Sydney-siders that come up, or any interstate people that come, if they're that keen.
Andrew Warrilow, you've done an amazing job. I can't wait to get up there. Thank you so much for embracing me and letting me come along and be part of all this. We should point out also on deck is the J-Man himself, Jamie Leonardo, to host the whole event. Is he there both nights? He'll be there for the event?
He's just there for the Saturday night.
Saturday, okay.
He's too expensive, his fees. No, I'm only kidding. No, he was only available for the Saturday night, but we're glad to have him at any time at all. I mean, he's got an enormous reputation and an enormous CV in delivering not only some cinematic events, but music events as well. Jay Katz, and I'm a real personal fan, so it's a real hoot to have him along.
Yep.
So we're in very, very good hands as far as the hosting goes.
Are you going to give us any insight into your costume for the night?
No, you're going to have to turn up to see it.
All right, mate. Andrew Warrilow.
I'll give you one little hint, though.
Yeah.
Jerry Anderson.
Jerry. Oh, okay. All right. That narrows it down.
It's a different sci-fi universe again.
You're going as Lady Penelope. Is that what Shh. All right, mate. Listen, thank you so much for chatting. It's been a joy, and I can't wait to see you up there. And thanks again for bringing something like this off, because it's anything that sort of gets the sci-fi old and new out there on the big screen. It's I'm all for it. So congratulations. We'll see you in a few days.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you for your support, and looking forward to having a blast on the night.